If somebody gives me something specific, it doesn't have to be restricted to Canada. But if there's any incident which is an issue, and somebody gives me something specific as a government, I would look at it. Of course, I would look at it.
And facing embarrassment for honouring a Nazi veteran in the Canadian Parliament, Prime Minister Trudeau has now shifted the blame on the Speaker of Canada's House of Commons, who has now tendered his resignation for inviting the man who fought for a Nazi military unit during the Second World War to Parliament to attend a speech by the Ukrainian president. And so huge embarrassment for Justin Trudeau, but Trudeau fights off firefights by making his speaker take the blame.
Honor as a parliamentarian to have been elected by you, my peers, to serve as the Speaker of the House of Commons for the 43rd and 44th Parliament. I have acted as your humble servant of this House, carrying out the important responsibilities of this position to the very best of my abilities. The work of this House is above any of us. Therefore, I must step down as your Speaker. I reiterate my profound regret for my error in recognizing an individual in the House during the joint address to Parliament of President Zelensky. That public recognition has caused pain to individuals and communities, including the Jewish community in Canada and around the world, in addition to survivors of Nazi atrocities in Poland, among other nations. I accept full responsibility for my actions. My resignation is effective at the end of the sitting day tomorrow, Wednesday, September 27th, to allow preparations for the election of a new Speaker. Until that time, the Deputy Speakers will chair the House proceedings. As a parliamentarian.
And joining me now is Senior Executive Editor of Republic TV, Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, the windows on our screen actually say it all. On the one side, we have a Nazi veteran honoured in the House of Commons. On the other, the Speaker taking full responsibility and resigning. How do you interpret this particular incident? A huge embarrassment for the Trudeau government, but Trudeau firefights by making his Speaker resign.
Well, you see, ideally, it should be only seen as an internal matter of Canada and their politics. Something bad happened. A Nazi being treated like a hero in the Parliament. So obviously, there had to be consequences. And since the invite goes in the name of the Speaker, and the Speaker is the chief of the Parliament effectively everywhere, anywhere in the world, so he has taken moral responsibility and resigned. But I think you have to, because we are speaking from India, we have to connect with what's really happened over the last fortnight. And this was just waiting to happen, perhaps. Remember what External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said in New York at a think tank just about 6 hours back. He has said that there is a culture of permissiveness in Canada which is harming Canada itself in terms of lawlessness, extremism, separatism, festering in the society there. So I think this is symptomatic of this instance, which is not connected with India, is really symptomatic of the culture of permissiveness, which has reached the level where their institutions have become so disorienting that they do not understand or are not able to differentiate between or are not able to analyze invites in a manner that they see a former Nazi who was involved in deaths of hundreds, if not thousands of people at that time in the unfortunate era of World War II in Europe. So I think this is another example of how Canada has really lost its plot when it comes to the idea of a state, and much of the blame obviously has to go to the ruling party. The Speaker, of course, there taking responsibility and resigning, but then this is going to take a lot of cleansing, and the onus obviously is on the Canadian electorate and the Canadian people to see where their nation is headed to and if that's the right direction to take.
Many thanks, Abhishek, for joining us there and sharing your thoughts with us. While Trudeau shifts blame, although we'd like to be very clear, it's an internal matter of Canada, but another incident that brings to light the kind of permissive atmosphere that prevails in the name